Let's talk about meat, health, nutritional value and sustainability. Firstly, I'd like to thank the organisers of this conference for inviting me to provide an opening statement. The timing of this meeting is very appropriate as the meat producing sectors in Europe come under increasing pressure from government and NGOs. The arguments they use include welfare, climate change and health. It's important that the counter-arguments are put into the public domain so that consumers have access to balanced discussions that can help them make informed decisions about their dietary choices. Meat is an integral part of many human diets. Evolution has selected for the human digestive system that is designed to be omnivorous, i.e. for meat to be part of our regular diet. Our teeth and intestinal tracts have developed in that direction in the same way that the teeth and digestive tracts of cattle and horses are developed in a different way to consume a solely herbivorous diet. That's not to say that humans can't choose a vegetarian or vegan diet, but to achieve the same nutritional intake for those diets is more challenging on a day-to-day basis. Obesity is probably the greatest health challenge to the developed world, and meat alongside sugar are blamed for this development. However, nothing is that simple. Obesity is a complex interaction of dietary choices and modern lifestyles. Evolutionary biologists have concluded that meat consumption was an important component in the development of the human brain. Meat is a valuable source of high-quality protein and micronutrients, vitamin B12, folic acid, zinc, calcium and iron. That's not to say that these cannot be sourced from vegetables, but it's just more challenging. The public need better balanced education on accessing a balanced diet. Population demographic and social changes has resulted in the modern consumer eating more ready-to-eat processed foods rather than preparing meals from fresh, simple ingredients. Education is key in them making the right decisions. In 2013, FAO published a report that stated that 14.5% of global greenhouse gases were as a result of livestock production. Since that time, there has been much debate about that particular figure, with some papers arguing that the number should be higher and some lower. We have to accept that animal production results in the production of greenhouse gases, and with some species producing more greenhouse gases than others. But ruminants, the species that are most criticized, were designed to eat vegetation that we as humans cannot utilize. That vegetation often grows in soils that cannot be used for the cultivation of edible crops. This enables us to access valuable animal protein from land that is unsuitable for crop production. However, monoculture to produce products like almonds, soya, and avocados, components of a vegetarian diet, is also not sustainable, as monoculture has a decimating effect on the diversity of insect populations. Grazing ruminants produce manure, which is a valuable food source for a variety of invertebrates, the survival of which enables them then to keep soils in good condition and thus improve their carbon capture capabilities and qualities. In the USA today, articulated lorries loaded with beehives are transported across horticultural states to ensure pollination of these crops. Why? Because the monocultural production has decimated natural diversity of pollinators. We have to ask ourselves, will this become worse if we all move to vegetarian diets, where there will be increasing demand for edible crops, and thus perhaps greater swathes of monoculture that won't support invertebrate diversity? But surely as a human race, we can be more innovative to tackle the challenges of climate change. Genetic selection should enable us to select for animals, or ruminants in particular, that produce less methane, therefore having a lower greenhouse gas production. All species we should be selecting for better feed efficiency so they use less raw materials to reach target weight. Nutritional supplements, a lot of work has been done on that to look at reducing greenhouse gas production in ruminants, and more work needs to be done. It's estimated that food transport accounts for 19% of all food greenhouse gas emissions. So we need to be more innovative in packaging and transport, and also ask the question, should we be transporting food around the world the way we do currently? We should be looking at genetic progress to produce important legumes like soya, beans, in more temperate climates, thus again reducing the requirement to move these edible crops, both for humans and animals, around the world. We need to be looking more closely at the processing of manure to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. What about utilisation of food waste? We used to feed swill to pigs, but we stopped because of foot and mouth disease and swine vesicular disease. But surely our knowledge is better now, and we should be reopening these debates. The same would apply to processed animal protein, a valuable protein source that's no longer utilised because of the issues around BSE. Clearly, some object to the rearing and killing of animals for food. But what happens to our landscape if we remove these animals? Animals are not just used for meat production. Their skins are used for leather. Surely that's better than plastic and other man-made fibres. Feathers are used for bedding. Bones for fertiliser. But again, areas we need to work on is making better use of that whole carcass so there is less waste. The UK landscape, for one, would be very different without domestic animals. And that has wider societal impacts in terms of environmental enrichment and leisure activities, which are all important for human mental health. So just some concluding thoughts from me. Your meeting is very timely. We need honest, balanced debate. We cannot look at any of these issues in isolation. You will have some very challenging discussions, and I'll leave you with the thought of one of your predecessors. It's during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. I'm not saying that we're necessarily at our darkest moment now, but we do need to focus to make sure that we can see the light and give a balanced argument to our end consumers. Thank you for allowing me to give this introduction, and good luck with your discussions.